Now, boom, guys, we're here today for one reason and one reason alone. Kendrick Lamar is back, baby. 5 years, he's back. Drew, how excited are you?
I know one Kendrick Lamar song, so
I know
Gideon, how
too.
excited are you? Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we can't talk about Kendrick Lamar, so instead of that, why don't we talk about episode 11, season 42 of Survivor? Or we could talk about Beat the Edge, or what's he calling? On the Edge?
Beyond the edge, right?
Yeah, yes. The big lesson of this episode, guys, the big lesson is you always swap.
yeah, it's crazy because we've seen this now twice, and I just thought almost there. If I didn't see how much time was left in the episode, I would have been like, "Oh my gosh, Lindsay's actually going to be screwed this time."
Right.
And when it didn't happen like that, I'm like, "All right, cool. We're 2 for 2. Let's not do this ever again. Get out while your hands are clean, and just
Right.
introduce another stupid twist down the line."
Right. Yeah.
I said the same
So if you
thing.
didn't-
I was like, always swap. You got to always swap, but apparently not the case for Survivor.
Yeah. Was that didn't that start with what was it? Price is Right or no?
Yeah,
his
Price
name
is
with
Right.
The door? Monty Hall,
Yeah.
right?
The Monty Hall problem.
Right. He's going to be our special guest next week here on Survivor Buffs. Monty Hall. Tough to find, tough to track down, but Gideon is a very powerful, resourceful young man. So thanks, Gideon, for tracking down our boy Monty. We're the Survivor Buffs, so we're here to discuss episode 11, and we're joined by Coach Drew, who I watched episode, what, 10 with?
Yeah.
Or 9? 10? Yeah, 10? Yeah. So Drew, if you don't know Coach Drew, he hosts his own podcast called Reality Hot Takes. Right now, he is doing a weekly episode where him and his co-host Emily talk about hot takes episode by episode on Survivor 42. So Drew, thanks for joining. And before we dive into episode 11, what is your biggest hot take on the season as a whole so far?
I feel like all of my opinions on this season are pretty much universal. I think that it's better than 41. That's not the craziest thing. I think that they've done a lot. Yeah, I think they've done a lot better with the twists, the story twist that we saw from 41. I think they did it a lot better this time. I think that probably 4 out of the 6 people still left in the game have a very good chance at winning. I think that the cast has been amazing from top to bottom. So I really don't have any game-changing opinions on the season. I feel like this is one of those seasons that everyone, unless you're some Jay Brown on the internet, has really enjoyed, and I'm happy about that.
Right. Giddy, do you have a hot take on the season?
I don't know if it's a hot take, but I just think Jonathan has a 0% chance of winning. Is that hot? I don't know.
No.
Some people on the internet might find that a hot take, but I do not.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Romeo has a better chance.
That's what we were talking about last episode too. Because Adam was like, "What % chance do you give Jonathan?" And I said 0, and he was like, "What % chance do you give Romeo?" And I was like maybe 0.5.
10. Let's give him 10.
I said 2. I think for Jonathan. I said the only way Jonathan wins, in my opinion, is if he wins every
redemption arc. He has to have a redemption arc.
Every immunity challenge and sits next to Romeo and Lindsay? Did I say Lindsay? Or
Lindsay wins in that situation. Lindsay wins in.
You think so?
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Oh, all right.
Lindsay, we'll get to that later, but
people like Lindsay a lot more.
Yeah, Lindsay's I
I guess. But Romeo, I think is, especially after this episode, if Romeo wins, it'll be the most shocking win in the history of the show. No, am I wrong there?
Most shocking?
Yeah.
No, I mean that's a very. I feel like a lot of people are shocked about different wins. If Romeo wins, it'd be the most shocking win since, maybe like Chris Underwood. But like, I don't think that it'll be like this all time. This, oh my gosh, do you remember where you were when Romeo won? Like, yeah, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
he did what he had to do. Whatever. Moving on.
Right. So me and Gideon, Drew, we did a fantasy draft at the beginning of the season. We'll show our teams in a second here. Basically snake back and forth, men, women, and created 2 teams of 9. And last season we did this. The point was just to have the winner on your team. This time we had a point system. It's been pretty close. Gideon was crushing me for the first couple episodes, and then I caught up. And then every episode for the last 6 episodes, it's like we've been trading. Because Andrea was on my team. My first pick was who was my first pick, Gideon?
Yeah, Romeo.
Romeo.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad pick.
What
at
a
the
pick!
beginning.
What a pick! What a pick!
My first pick was high.
Yeah,
who looked amazing, by the way.
But since episode 3, every week I've been Mike. I've been Mike every week, and I'm still Mike. I think if I had to predict, I think probably Romeo's going home next week. Lindsay or Marianne. Well, you got to think next week, and we'll get into this at the end. Next week, what? There's the
3
last
idols
week that idols can be played. So Mike's going to play an idol. He's not going home. Lindsay has an idol. She's not going home.
If Omer gives it back.
He'll give it back. There's no way. I don't think he would. I think he would hurt. I think it would cause him more harm to keep.
Yeah, because he wants Mike's vote at the end, and the worst thing you could do in that situation is screw Mike over because you know that Mike plays that loyalty game.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Final five, right, guys?
In his mind. In his mind, he does. Yeah. That was funny. Mike saying that his final 5 was him, Lindsay, Drea, Omer, and Jonathan, which I feel like is one of those things where it's just this just happens to be the people I'm sitting on the beach with at this moment. So let me just throw out final 5 because I don't think anybody in that final 5 would want that to be the final 5, except maybe Drea, because I feel
viewers might want that final 5, but they would not.
Was there at the conversation.
Yeah.
Because Drea did seem like she was one of those players that did want to have the best final 3, did want, to sit at the end with the people she thought deserved to be at the end with the most.
I think it might have been a good strategy for Drea because I think Drea still wins, in my opinion, in that situation. And even though, has anybody ever won off of that strategy saying, well, I brought the best people to the end, and then splitting the votes among the best people, and then you end up being the winner because, they're so divided amongst who played the better social game between Mike and Omer, and so they just split the votes and then Dre takes the rest. I don't know. Might not have been
I think Rob said that at Redemption Island. I think that was probably the last time that someone took the 2 best to the end with them.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Didn't it feel like everyone has just forgotten about Mike's idol? I honestly forgot Mike had an idol until it was brought up this episode.
So that's what the season has done really well, is the fact that they will bury, some people will get the amulets, and then you don't hear about the amulets for 4 episodes until it's relevant again. They've done really well at trying to hide the fact that these people still have things, except for if you're people like us who pay attention to everything and are like, oh, when's the amulet going to get played? For the casual viewer, they're probably forgetting that these people have it, so when an episode like this happens where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Mike has an idol, it's like, cool, this is going to be the plot of the episode now. They use them as almost like plot devices.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I was trying to guess like who I thought because like Mike said that he wants his what he wanted his final five to be, but like I don't know. I was trying to imagine I feel like Omer's like if I was trying to think of like Omer's perfect final three would probably be Jonathan and Romeo, and I feel like most people probably
yeah.
are in the same boat.
Yes.
Like I feel like most people want Jonathan and Romeo. Like Lindsay probably thinking the same thing. Mike's probably thinking the same thing. I don't think Romeo and Jonathan. I think Romeo at this point realizes that he's not going to win this season. I don't know if Jonathan realizes he's not going to win.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, he's not seeing Romeo, what we're seeing.
Like so Romeo's perfect final three in my mind would probably be like Lindsay and probably the same thing, Lindsay and Jonathan, because he might get a vote or two, or maybe one vote out of that. In which case he'll take second place, get the second place prize money. Yeah, Drea might be the only. I don't. Tell me what you guys think. I don't think Marianne, and I'm not saying that she's like a dumb player. I'm just saying I don't think Marianne, as much as everybody else, cares who she's sitting with. I think she just really wants to make Final Tribal Council because she just loves the game so much and just, like I think everybody else at this point is like, I want my final to be these two, has to be these two. Here's this plan to get it to these two. Whereas I feel like Marianne just kind of like wants to get to Final Tribal. Do you guys agree with that, or?
I mean, I feel like that is kind of everyone's mentality. It's just that some people are being more vocal about who they want at the end. I think with Marianne, I feel like, just based off what we're seeing, she knows that she's a great speaker. She knows she's a great speaker in front of the jury, in front of Jeff. And if you sit her in the final and she goes on one of her passionate speeches, people might really buy into it. So I do think that everyone is thinking, okay, yes, I want to sit at the end. But I feel like with her, she just feels like, just get me there and I'll take care of the rest. Everyone else is like, okay, who do I want to sit next to? And then I'll take care of the rest when I get there. Gideon, thoughts?
And we saw in this episode, in her conversation with Romeo, that like they both are kind of on the mentality of like, well, the alphas are going to start eating each other. And like maybe the best move for us is to sit back and let that happen. And that's exactly what happened this tribal council is they're starting to realize we can't sit next to Drea. And then next episode it'll be we can't sit next to Mike or Omer or whoever it is.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think most people watching the show at this point saw Omer as the biggest, as the favorite to the favorite to win, the biggest resume. But I think out there, everybody thought that Drea was, and that was before they even knew
Drea was playing out in the open.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I think it was also a little more obvious. Like a lot of Omer's people like him out there, but a lot of his like convincing and conniving is done like without people realizing it. Whereas I think Drea is very like
lay her cards
all out on the table type of person. Well, to get to the end. So obviously the question is, if Omer gets to the end, can he show the jury the game that we as an audience are seeing?
I think so.
I think so. But
I think so as well.
I also thought the same thing about a man named Steven in season 18, and that totally did not happen. But
that's a whole other episode.
Yeah,
that's a whole other podcast to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about that because Marianne might be watching. I don't want to spoil it because she hasn't seen the final five, or she has now, right? She finally did watch.
She has to have seen it by now. Yeah. I feel like people bullied her enough on Twitter to watch the rest of Tocantins. So
yeah, I knew she knew who won, but great season by the way. So editing wise, I knew, to pat myself on the back, I knew that there was no way Jonathan was going home this episode because, like, the Survivor editors have sort of fit into a formula with so many things. There's always that one person who gets all this smoke before the challenge, and that person never.
It was Tori for a
ends up
while,
going
yeah.
home. Jonathan got all the smoke. Everyone's like, "Let's get Jonathan. Let's get Jonathan." So I knew, okay, there's no way Jonathan goes home, which means when the challenge was just Jonathan and Lindsay, it was like, okay, obviously Jonathan's going to win this challenge. So, I was like, do you guys ever feel like the editing has become a little bit formulaic, where like you can predict things just based on, you know what I mean?
Sometimes, but like this season has done really. I feel like it's done really well at not being so in your face that it's like, okay, yes, but also hiding certain things. Like, yes, we kind of. I feel like there were a lot of people that thought, okay, yeah, what if Mike actually gives this thing to Omer? The only problem is because we weren't shown it, everyone kind of probably sat there thinking, okay, well, because we weren't shown it, because it was like a one-off scene, this probably didn't happen. And then showing Mike putting his head down and all that, like he played it off very well. And I give that to the editors too, because they showed us just enough where we were on the fence on did Mike actually give this to Omer or not. And the payoff, the payoff was amazing.
Yeah. That was a plus.
Yeah, I do feel like this episode was a little predictable, especially at the beginning. Like I did think first of all, when I saw the challenge in the press release, I thought Jonathan would win because I told this to Adam. I was like, this challenge is just made for Jonathan. It's back strength. Are you kidding me? But then, and I also didn't think that Lindsay would go home because they were showing all of the scheming and plotting and the things that would happen if Lindsay didn't go home. And I feel like if they showed that and then she ended up going home, then we as an audience would feel shortchanged because so many things happened after Lindsay was marked safe. And if they showed us what we missed out on, then that would make us hate hate the do or die twist more than we already hate it. Which, by the way, it's terrible. Stop. But yeah, I just thought it was a great episode. One of my favorites, but it was predictable. The Mike one was good though. The Mike thing
especially like what, it was great. Especially like what Drew said at the beginning of this podcast. Once Lindsay went up to do her do or die, you're like, wait, there's still 10 minutes left in this episode.
That too.
So
I try not to look at the time so I don't spoil it for myself, though.
That's fair.
I can't help it, but yeah. Side note, yes, Christian in the comments, Mike is old school game.
I would say that. Totally.
But yeah, I was going to ask you guys, like, between everything from season 41, and I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit at the kickoff show that we did with the specialists and Peridium and Idled Out and Charlie D'Amelio. One of the questions I asked everybody was, what's one thing from season 41 that new thing that you would kick out between Do or Die, Hourglass, the phrases for the idols, knowledge is power, and most people said the Hourglass. But now that we've seen every new thing in action, do you guys, what would you guys say now? Because to me, at this point, I would rather get rid of Do or Die than the Hourglass.
Me too. But here's the thing: there's no way they're bringing back the Hourglass because now people from season 43 know what it does.
Right, and then they'll
the phrases
intention.
Yeah, the phrases too. They could bring back knowledge is power, I guess. Will people finally wise up and not give away information about their knowledge is power? Because now it's happened twice. But yeah.
Oh, that would have been so. Drea dropped the ball the exact, like, oh my gosh. If she had just, and it's funny because it's one of those things where, like, that's one of those things that you kind of see coming because you know the character. Yeah. So she's telling Omer this. It's like, oh shoot, like here we go. And I love Omer and all that, but I also love Drea. So as she's telling him, I'm like, if you just told almost anyone else, we could probably get through this. And instead, she tells Omer, and Omer immediately runs and tells Lindsay, and as we're seen at Tribal, tells Mike. And it's like, all right, well, and I'm sure we're gonna get to it, but like, I feel like Omer might be in trouble. I mean, I feel like everyone is in trouble now because Drea said the exact right thing about everyone on her way out, that everyone's going to be a target now instead of just the big ones.
Yeah.
Drea had a good read. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing with the do or die is the whole time that obviously with Deshaun, he didn't go home. With Lindsay, she didn't go home. If the person who does do or die goes home, then everything that happens between the challenge and tribal council is probably going to feel like it didn't matter. It's like, why did we just watch all that? Because it didn't matter. Unless, like, everybody's so paranoid about, the do or die, like, what's going to happen, that it, like, fractures an alliance. But that didn't happen at all. At least that we saw. But I feel like if that had happened, the editors would have shown that to be like, see, this is why the do or die works. Yeah, I would rather have the hourglass stay, because I don't feel like the hourglass really impacted Erica's win that much, in my opinion.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, no. And obviously with Roxroy, it did, like, no one even mentioned it. Like after it happened, it's just like, okay. Because who went home the day?
Lydia went home.
Lydia, yeah. So,
and that was just kind of like meh. And like, I love Sydney, but like, same with Sydney. Like, the two people that went out from the hourglass twist were just really non-factors in the strategic aspect of the game.
Speaking of Omer talking about, like, when he got the information from Drea, which, by the way, unless the editors didn't show, because Drea said Omer was the only one I told my secret to, which means two things. One, it obviously means Omer's playing a great game, which we already knew. But the fact that Drea would only tell him just goes to show a lot of people consider Omer their number one, or at least a close ally. In fact, does anybody not consider Omer an
Romeo? No, because Romeo's good too.
Yeah,
so everybody. So literally everyone. Are they? So is it going to be an editing thing where like what they did with Swati in her boot episode, where they show edits of everyone getting together and going, wait, he's my closest ally, but he's mine. Like, are they going to do that? Don't do my boy Omer like that. Come on. But
I feel like on camera we've only seen him say that Jonathan is his number one, and that was way back in the old days of the season. But like, I'm trying to go through my head. I don't think that he has said that on camera to anyone else. It's just more people talking about him in their confessional, saying Omer's my guy. I trust Omer more than everybody else. This, that, and the other. But it's never Omer saying, "Oh yeah, I like these people are my number ones," because he knows what it is. He knows that he doesn't have to vocalize it, because then if he vocalizes it, it makes him look bad when he turns on them.
Can Omer win this game without winning any immunity challenges?
Yeah. Yes. I think he can win coming up in these next challenges because there's puzzles that are going to be involved. But
another big thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is, and obviously we don't know if they're going to keep it, but the advantage that Erica got at that final five, to me, that was the single thing that helped her win, or at least get to the end.
Well, yeah, because she won immunity, and then that took out Ricard. That's how Ricard went home, and Ricard would have won, and then that was just sort of like the domino effect.
Yeah. So, if Omer gets that, he better start practicing fire.
Or will it be in front of Marianne's face again, It's like, you never know. Marianne's good at finding those.
Yeah. Or Lindsay will get redemption and find one. Or find it now.
Yeah. Lindsay finally finds something.
Right. So, what I was going to ask you guys was, like, I get why he told Mike. Because in telling Mike, he essentially makes this plan to get. You know what's funny is I told Gideon last episode that they should name season 42 Survivor. Every episode just becomes like who Omer wants to go home, because it's literally been that since like the merge. As funny as the whole episode, it was like, oh wow, Omer's taking a back seat for this one, and right at the last second. It just is, nope, you thought.
You might think we're going straight to tribal council, but first we have to show the scene where Drea tells Omer about her advantage, and then we get 5 minutes of Omer, and it's like, all right, let's go. It's Omer.
And I get why he told Mike, because him telling Mike essentially like sends Drea home, and it makes his position with Mike strong, because in Mike's mind he might have just saved him, or he did save him.
Yeah.
Like he literally did save him, because if Mike hadn't done that, he, I don't think Mike would have played his idol.
And taking out Drea was in Lindsay's best interest. It was in Mike's best interest. Like,
well, what I wanted to ask you guys was, I obviously it was smart to tell Mike, but he also tells Lindsay.
I don't think there's any harm done by that, because of course Lindsay wants to take Drea out because of the amulet. I mean, is Omer aware of the amulet?
Yeah, they found out during the family visit.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So he knew about that, and so I think with that leverage, once again, Omer using the knowledge to his advantage, he has.
Knowledge is power.
But knowledge is power. But except there's not an advantage to this one. It's just Omer has the knowledge. But yeah, I think he knew that it would be in Lindsay's, like Lindsay would go with it, because then now she has an idol, full power, that she has to play next tribal. So Lindsay's guaranteed Final 5.
Or can you play? Is it can you last play idols?
6.
5. I thought that was 5, but the advantages were 6.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's the amulet. She has to play the amulet at 6. Yeah, she has to play the amulet at 6. Idols can still be played at 5, but it's set on the thing. It can be played at Final 6. So Lindsay's guaranteed Final 5. Lindsay's not going home next episode.
Right, and part of me wonders if the fact that Lindsay's going to play hers, then maybe all the idols might come out. I don't know.
Yeah, will somebody get Sareed, you know?
Well, I don't think it's possible. I think there'd be 2.
Thank the Lord. Still, that's bad, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. But thankfully, it wouldn't even be the first time this season that's happened, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so what all did Drea go with? She went with the amulet, the extra vote. Is that it?
She used the extra vote.
She had an idol, right? Or she had, what was the necklace thing she had? Oh yeah. Then she's good.
Knowledge is power.
So yeah, so she only went home. Everything. Yeah, she only went home with an amulet.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So she used everything except the amulet.
And she needed consent from Lindsay to use the amulets, and that was not given. So.
Right. So Drew, do you think Omer telling Lindsay was a good move?
In the moment, yes. I think that. Yeah, I think in the moment it is. But like I touched on earlier, I think that what Drea said as she left is really going to start putting targets on people that are not who everyone deems the threats in the game. So let's touch on Omer. Drea saying, hey, Omer, you were the only person I told about that advantage, is going to plant something in someone's head to say, oh man, Omer's not trustworthy because he just screwed her, and I've been giving him information about this. What else do these people know? If people start just sitting there comparing notes, they'll realize very quickly that Omer's playing all of them. And I think that I don't know if it was overly intentional. I'm pretty sure it was. But I feel like Drea picked the exact right words to say to every single person to make everyone a target. And I feel like that's what's going to...
Except Marianne.
No, even
Marianne.
No,
just like, you keep being you, baby. Is that bad?
Like the only one I feel like she didn't really do anything with. It was like, oh yeah, Jonathan, I didn't plan on targeting you.
Jonathan's already dead in the water.
Yeah, I think Jonathan was the only one that didn't get any type of real thing, because I think everyone knows Jonathan's not winning. Even people there now know that Jonathan's not winning. Except Jonathan.
Right.
And it must be so hard for him.
Right.
It's so hard for him. He's so big and muscular, and
No one's paying attention to what I do around camp.
Oh yeah. One person we really haven't mentioned, like almost at all this episode. I mean Romeo, but is he even really there? Is Marianne, which is interesting because like pre-merge, if you would ask me who is getting the most, like the winners edit, I would probably have said Marianne over anyone. Now I'd say it's more Omer, but Omer's almost getting too good of an edit that now I think he's the Rick Devens of the season.
And
you're lying. Don't say that, Adam.
And Lindsay's the winner.
Oh, okay, interesting. I think Lindsay is. So, I was going to ask, like, who do you guys think is getting the most similar edit to Erica? I would say Lindsay.
No, I think
No.
Marianne in that situation.
Yeah, I would say Marianne too, because Erica had her moves shown by this point. And while Marianne, I don't think at this point has made any moves close to what Erica had done by this point. I mean, because Erica had orchestrated some votes by now. I still think they're showing Marianne's thought process and how she's well-spoken and well aware of what's going on in the game.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think there's anyone here that is getting exactly the Erica edit. And even with Lindsay, like 3 weeks ago, I'm sitting there saying, well, if Lindsay wins, then Survivor really screwed up because they didn't give her any type of edit. And then in the last 3 weeks, it's become basically the Lindsay and Omer show. And I've loved. I mean, we finally got her backstory, which I thought was awesome. I feel like
Thought she was going home. Really?
yeah.
did.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe it. But I feel like if her edit pick continues at the pace it's been going the last 3 weeks through these last 2 episodes, I feel like it's almost. Not saying the win is the same, but like in Winners at War, like Tony was getting, and then as soon as Sophie went home, it became the Tony show from there on out. So I think that once
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. When Tori went home, it has been steadily the Lindsay show, the Lindsay and Omer show ever since then.
You're so right about Tony. My friend is watching Winners at War, and she doesn't know who wins. And I'm like, who are you liking so far? And she's like, I love Yul. And she's like almost to the double boot episode. And I'm like, what do you think about that bald guy? And she's like, oh,
Jeremy?
he's okay. He's okay, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah. By that point, Tony wasn't getting a lot. But
yeah, I think that if Lindsay wins, it'll be the Tony edit that she got.
we look back on Winners at War because of how well Tony played after the Sophia's vote especially. But if you really go back and watch the beginning, it's not as obvious as probably we thought it would be.
I thought Sophie was winning that entire time until she got voted out.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Side note, didn't get the tank top memo. Did I? Was that not sent? Was that not sent?
I just got out of dance class, man. I'm sorry. I
So
came
did
straight
I.
from dance class. to
I
here.
wore my flannel to dance class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah. But have you guys noticed that too? Marianne's kind of been like pushed a little bit in the edit. I feel like Romeo got more screen time this episode than Marianne did.
Let me
But
tell you,
she's-
Marianne makes the most of her TV time, though.
She does. Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Her
I-
her voting confessional was.
It does.
I
seem
laughed so hard.
It does seem like in the preview for next episode that Marianne's gonna be shown a lot more, which could also mean she goes home. But
I hope she doesn't go home with an idol in her pocket. I mean, my hope would be for the players that
That
if
would
you
suck.
feel what Mike said this episode, if I feel even a little bit uncomfortable, I'm playing my dang idol, and that should be the case because the game's getting so unpredictable now. You don't even really know, and if you think it even might be you, if it's Marianne, I hope she would play it.
Yeah,
You
if you
guys think it was
see
in-
idol get played, you have to be the one that plays.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And Lindsay's gonna bring hers out, and it's like Adam said, like we could see the chain reaction to where now only 2 people can receive votes, and that's gonna be Romeo and whoever doesn't win immunity.
Romeo and Omer. Oh, this is assuming Jonathan wins.
Assuming Jonathan wins, which he might not.
Yeah, he only has
Yeah.
2 on the season, so.
Yeah. Do you guys think there's any chance Mike would have played his idol this episode had not been for Omer telling him about the knowledge is power?
What do you think, Drew?
Yes.
I don't.
I feel like he would have, because he's not. Once again, we could say that about almost everyone in the season. He's not dumb. Like, I feel like he would have, just like Drea going on her rant about how I notice all of this stuff happening. You know, I see this, I see that, I see this, I see that. Mike has to be the same way. Like, maybe not to that extreme, but he's not stupid. If he sees people going off and talking and not doing things that they said that they're doing, the idol is there for situations like that, where if you feel like someone's BSing you, flat app, there you go, peace. So I do think that there was potential that he could have played it.
Yeah, there was potential.
But
It
I
seemed
think
like from the edit,
I think
I would have been surprised.
since Omer helped him out like that, I figured his thought process would be, well, Omer just protected me. Surely I wouldn't be voted out now. Like after he did that for me and knowledge is power. Like surely me, Omer, and he knew Lindsay was in on it at that point. Surely we have all the numbers since we just duped Drea.
Right. Side note, how about
she did.
Side note, did you guys see? Did you see Jeff's face when Lindsay said, "God, I love Survivor"?
Yeah, it's like, oh God, no, don't say that right now, because Jeff's like, all right, we're bringing it back for 43. Let's go.
Oh boy.
Do not bring the do or die back. I hope Jeff is on Twitter, please.
Great final try or great tribal. This wasn't final tribal, unless they're doing a six-way tie. Yeah, great tribal. If Mike would have went home, I texted this to Gideon afterward, but maybe I guess there's no way Mike could have gone home, right? Because it was 5-3. So if Omer would have switched his vote to Mike, and I'm saying that he would do that so that he would not only get the knowledge is power out, but but he would also Drea would be. No one knew about the knowledge is power, so it would also paint a target on Drea, a target that she now can't cover because she would have to use her extra vote. And on top of that, he would get Mike's idol. So that would have been a huge move on Omer's part to boost him up, boost down Drea, who at that point was probably the biggest threat to win based on what they saw. And it got Mike out, which was also a huge threat to win. To me, if Omer could have pulled that off, that would have. I texted Gideon. I was like, if that would have happened, I think that we would have. I think I would maybe consider that like an all-time great Survivor move. The only thing is, even if Omer switched, it still wouldn't have been enough. He would have had to get one more person. Which, if anyone could get someone to switch a vote this season, it's Omer.
It's Omer.
Yeah, but wouldn't that sever Omer's social bonds? And then now everyone's
with Mike, but Mike's gone.
Yeah, but
but if you're willing to turn on Mike, you're willing to turn on anyone.
Yeah, and I feel like that sends a message to everyone else. Oh, well, you have an idol now. Sure, you'll make it to Final 5, but if you lose immunity, then we all know you're the biggest threat, and all of a sudden, you're gone.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be a good move. I think it would be a good move if nobody knew about Mike's idol. But maybe saying it's one of the greatest moves of Survivor history, or would have been, because it didn't happen that way. Maybe a better way to say it is I think that would be one of the greatest moments in Survivor history for him to cause Drea to lose her knowledge's power, to put her down, and then to take Mike's idol and then him vote out so you keep it. I feel like that would have been such a great, even if that wouldn't have been the best move for him in the game. Because would you rather be a target and have an idol, or not be a threat and not have an idol?
Not be a threat and not have an idol, because like, I'm only saying this as Omer, because as Omer, I'm not perceived as a threat. I know that I am. I don't have an advantage. Everyone knows I don't have an advantage. Everyone trusts me. So as these people continue to take each other out, as long as I don't just go up there and totally bomb Final Tribal, I can sit there and say everything that I did, and there will be someone on the jury that can corroborate everything that I said, or everything that I said and did. And like I'm telling, like if Omar sits at the end against I think there's one person that he could potentially lose to, but if he sits at the end, let's say against Jonathan and Romeo, Omar's winning the game. Whatever, I don't know how many jurors there are, but it's going to be a sweep. I don't see anyone getting a vote in that besides Omar in that situation, and it might be a perfect game if he continues to not get votes.
The only person I maybe would have said, the only person I maybe would have said is Mike giving Jonathan a vote, but I think Mike feels like he owes Omar now, unless Omar screws him in the next episode or two. I feel like Omar has essentially secured Mike's vote.
I personally think Mike would turn on Omar if the price is right. You know.
You mean not vote for him?
No, I think he would vote him out. I think Mike would vote out Omar if everybody agreed.
Oh yeah, I don't think Mike is so loyal to Omar at the point where he's like, I can't vote him out. But I'd be shocked if Mike doesn't. I'm shocked if Mike takes the jury and votes Omar, unless Omar does this whole charge against Mike that's very upfront. Unless that happens, I think Omar secured Mike's jury vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, we were teased about it next week, but, like, the four could be imploding. It's not like the four have been working with each other the entire time, but it looks like they could be imploding. And that could be good for a Mike or a Romeo, because the easiest thing would be to have Marianne, Jonathan, Omar, and Lindsay take to the Final Four. But three of those four understand that that's probably not the prime way to get to the end. And even in the preview, I guess we're showing that Jonathan doesn't think so either. So 4 of the 4 understand that's probably not the perfect Final Four for any of them, except for maybe Omar and Lindsay. I think Omar and Lindsay, that would be a great Final Four for them, but Marianne and Jonathan, I don't see that.
Right. Was Drea's exit a top 10 departure in the show's history?
I mean, yeah.
Top 5.
Top 5. I was about to say top 5 for me. I mean, what beats that? I don't know.
Shoot,
I've been bamboozled. No,
I've been bamboozled. Yeah, exactly.
I hope you all get bitten by crocodiles. Come on.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Chicken going, damn it, and just walking out.
I mean, Suri. I feel like Suri in Game Changers is the best.
No, I try to distance myself from that whole.
Well, I mean, it sucks that
it's really nice though. It is a really nice moment.
I'm talking about everything after the final vote is red, or I guess it's
what vote? What vote? There were no votes.
Yeah, but
definitely top 5. Just like we were almost teased with it last week with Hai going out, like Hai congratulating everyone, great blindside, blah blah blah, and then this has turned up to 11 this week with Drea. Just basically like, her and Mike are just messing around like they're old pals. And the funniest part of that whole thing was they kept cutting to Omar trying to hug her, and she's hugging literally everyone else. And she hugs him for a second and then, heads towards Jeff. And as she starts talking, I'm like, oh, like I thought that she was purposely avoiding him. She probably just didn't see him. But when she starts calling everyone out, very politely, but she's calling everyone out. I'm like, this is smart.
Right.
She's still that way. Drea's still playing into the game, even on the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of, I was thinking while you were talking. I was listening too, but is Suri leaving in Game Changers the only time that we've gotten like everyone standing up and clapping as someone exits the game?
When Sandra got voted out in Game Changers, I think that they all did the same thing.
Oh, really?
Because that was her first time being voted out.
Yeah, it was a huge deal back in the day. Now it's happened twice, but
Right. They didn't do that for Russell in Redemption Island?
I don't think so.
What? That's crazy.
I hope not.
Well, I would have. No.
Rest in peace, Ralph.
Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace, Rob. I think we all have been suspecting this entire time that this was a top 10 newbie cast. Is this a top 5 newbie cast
Yes.
at this point? I'd
Yes.
say yes.
Cast,
Gideon.
yes. See, top 5 newbie season, probably not. But top 5
Whoa,
newbie cast, yes.
really?
I wouldn't say newbie season. I'd
Really?
say I'd say maybe 9 or 10 newbie season. But there's still 2 episodes left.
That's
Still
There's
wild.
2 episodes left. But newbie cast, I love. Literally, I couldn't tell you probably more than 2 people that like I just think are so boring and don't factor into the show at all.
If you're talking about seasons, I mean, I think Cook Island's a better season. Pearl Island.
No, it's not. Oh no, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this again. We're not doing
Okay, this is turning into reality hot takes.
Pearl Islands. Pearl Island.
Pearl Islands, yes. Cook Islands, no.
I'd say Tocantins, personally. Cagayan.
Cagayan, I'll agree with. Pearl Islands and Cagayan, I'll agree with. David versus Goliath, I'll agree with.
And yeah, David versus Goliath. Edge.
Bro, I liked Millennials Gen X more as a whole more than 42 so far.
I mean, there are 2 episodes left. Someone tells me this is going to have a great ending.
I sat at work and wrote down my 42 seasons, like ranked them after yesterday or after today's episode. And I right now have 42 at 15.
Okay.
And
what
is it amongst newbies? What newbies are ahead? Yeah.
Ahead of 42 right now, I have Panama, Millennials vs. Gen X, Amazon, Korong, Tocantins, Pearl Islands, Cagayan.
So it's not top 5 for you either.
Oh, it's not. Okay, yeah, okay. All right, I take it back.
It's number 8 for you.
Yeah. But there's still 2 episodes left.
This was I mean, it went up in the rankings after this episode. I'll say that. This was a tremendous episode. Probably my favorite episode, even with Do or Die. But
damn, y'all really are close.
I know, dude. People are gonna think this is scripted. It's so close.
Yeah.
We did not plan this.
That's wild.
Drew, who has the winner on their team?
Looks like Gideon.
I have the winner.
Yeah.
No, I have Mike. I'm team Adam.
Let me tell you, Adam. I might have the final 3 on my team.
That'd be a crazy final 3 minus Jonathan.
Jeez. If Omer, Lindsay, and Jonathan are the final 3, what do you think the vote count's going to be?
How many
8-1-0. 8-1-0. One person might feel bad for Lindsay. That's what I think it would be.
No, I don't think it'll be a pity vote. Like, Lindsay is playing very well. I feel like if it's Omer, Lindsay, Jonathan, I do feel like Omer would get the large majority of the votes, but I do think that Lindsay would probably get a few. I think it'd be definitely more than 1.
I think it'd be 7-2.
7-2. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Why is that so much better than 8-1?
Because you said pity vote. If you hadn't said pity vote, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But like,
Deshaun got a pity vote.
Huh?
Deshaun got a pity vote.
Deshaun got a pity vote because he screwed up at final 5 or 6 with him outing everyone. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Lindsay hasn't done anything to burn anyone, and she's played a great social, strategic, and physical game.
Beside playing the Do or Die, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a mistake, but it worked out to her advantage. So if you sit next to Omer, and like I said, like I keep saying, if Omer goes up there and boom, 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 this is everything that I did. Take it positively or negatively, but this is everything that I did, and no one can sit up there and say that I'm lying about it. I feel like more people than not will vote for him to win because it doesn't seem like the type of jury to be pissed off about it. Just based off of what we've been shown so far, it doesn't seem like people are, no one's up there mean mugging except for no, not even Tori. Everyone is sitting up there, pretty, having fun and all that jazz. So I don't know. I feel like if that's the final three, yes, Omer probably wins, but I would not be surprised if Lindsay somehow pulls in a fair few votes. I would be surprised if Jonathan got even one.
What about
I don't think Jonathan
Marianne
gets
and
any.
Mike?
I think Marianne would get a few votes.
Oh yeah. I feel like Marianne might get Lindsay's vote. If it's your three, Adam, Mike and Marianne probably have a closer. What's the word? The chances are probably a lot closer than Omer and Lindsay. So I think that's more of a toss-up than people might think that it is.
Yeah. What would you guys like to see as a final three? I honestly, this might sound weird. I think if I could pick my dream final three, it would be Omer, Mike, and Jonathan, because I feel like it would be the first time in the show's history that the best strategic being Omer, physical being Mike, just kidding, physical being Jonathan, and I think Mike's playing the best social game this season. It'd be almost kind of like a three-headed monster. No, that doesn't mean it's going to be close. Also, if it's final three and there's 9 voters, what happens if it's 3, 3, and 3? Did we ever or is there 8? Is there 8 jurors? Because it's Rox Roy, Tori,
1, 2, 3,
Drea, Chanel
4,
High, and then there would be
5.
2. Oh, so there's only 7. Or no, wait.
Yeah, okay.
No, there's 8.
Yeah.
There's 8 jurors. There's 8 jurors.
Okay.
So yeah, they can't tie.
I
So
think
there's no way.
think the final 3 that the votes would be the most split amongst, and I would actually wonder who won when the votes are being read, which I love. I don't like it being a landslide like it was 41. I think it would be Marianne, because I think Marianne has votes on the jury already. I personally think Marianne has votes on the jury already. And I would say Omer. And then I would say, it's between Mike and Lindsay for me.
Mike.
And I would probably say Mike. I think those 3, we would see it close. I think Marianne has a few jurors already locked up, just because of how passionate she is for the game and because of her personality. I think people will respect Omer's gameplay, and I think people will respect Mike's social game. And I just think it would all come down to the final tribal, who speaks the best, and we still may not know who's going to win while the votes are being read, which is what I would like to happen.
I love when that happens. I don't like going to final tribal. It's well, guess Tommy wins.
I think Omer, Marianne, and Mike would be the best final 3 of all time.
I might agree with you. I mean, maybe Winners at War, but
I don't think there's ever been a final 3 where all 3 have a strong chance of winning.
Why do you hate Lindsay so much?
I just don't think. I just don't. I just don't.
Dude, I would say if there's a 4, any of those 4 sit at the final 3 together, I'd say that's probably the best newbie final 3.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
Besides,
I can't think of anything better.
Ho Wrong?
No, because Ty was weak. Ty was weak.
I don't think. I don't think.
Well then,
I hold Marianne or Mike in a higher regard than Ty. Sorry, Ty, but.
Oh shoot! Okay, maybe even David versus Goliath. I was
about to say. I think David versus Goliath's better than Ko Wrong in terms of final 3, because Mike, that's a podcast for another day. But Mike had a strong chance.
Shout out to the Mike White with Rob podcast. It's a great podcast.
I forgot about that. For the 6th week in a row, I'm gonna have to give Omer my MVP of the episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Agreed? You disagree?
You asking me or Gideon? Because I agree with you.
Well, I thought Gideon said wow.
Yeah. Dude. I don't
You're struggling
know. Yeah, I don't know because I give it to Omer every freaking time.
But I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Who else can I give it to? It's bad when I'm trying to
No.
have an excuse not to give it to Omer. So yeah, Omer. But
Right. Christian
terms of
thinks Omer
editing-
wins unanimously with anybody at the finals. I don't know.
well,
think
I
that-
think you're wrong. I think you're wrong about that,
No,
Christian.
yeah. I don't think unanimous with
Omer's
I
playing
think
a great
that-
game. I think he
Yeah.
wins, but not unanimous.
Unanimous would have
I
to
don't
be
think he
against
wins.
Jonathan and Romeo. That's his only chance of winning unanimously.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Is there any chance Romeo gets any vote against anybody in the final?
Yes. If he's sitting next to
Oh, okay.
Jonathan, because Jonathan is getting 0 votes.
So what if it's
Who
What
would
if it's-
who would vote for freaking Romeo?
over like Lindsay?
If it's Lindsay, Romeo, Jonathan, Lindsay probably wins like 7-1. I think that's where a pity vote might come, Gideon. But like, like, I can't.
I mean, I could see a pity vote for Jonathan more than I would for Romeo.
Why does Jonathan need
Yeah,
your pity?
What does Jonathan need pity
Why
for?
does Deshaun? I understood why he needed the pity because him and
Well, okay,
Danny
pity-
were
pity-
boys. Who
pity
is
might not be
Jonathan boys with? Mike?
Mike.
Yeah, but even Mike still
Mike.
wouldn't do that. I still feel like Mike would probably
You don't
vote
think so?
for. I feel like Mike would vote for who he actually.
Deshaun's arc was tragic.
Yes.
Jonathan's arc is not tragic. He thinks
Jonathan's
it's tragic.
is woe is me because no one congratulates me for cooking food and stuff or doing stuff around
I'm
camp.
sure Jonathan's a nice guy IRL, okay?
Sure,
But
he
in
is.
terms of Survivor, he's getting pretty hangry, and I feel like even he can see that coming through the screen.
I'm not saying I think Mike is going to vote for him. I'm just saying I could see a world where Mike votes for him over
No.
Lindsay. He's never worked with Lindsay, and I think he's pretty close with Jonathan. I think that's a potential.
Misogynistic.
Yeah. If Lindsay were to die, you would like it.
I actually really like Lindsay. Like Lindsay's one of my favorites. Like people to like check their Instagrams after each episode. Like I love Lindsay. I'm just saying I don't love Lindsay's chances of winning at all. Like I think Marianne. I think besides Romeo, she has the worst chance of winning. Least
Oh
chance of winning.
no! Oh stop! Oh my
Yeah.
God! Get your boy! Get your boy! Please, please! Thank you. Nina's left the building, and rightfully so. Relax. I hope Lindsay's in the final 3.
Oh,
against
and,
whoever got over.
Jonathan.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Jonathan.
All
Sorry,
right,
I'm
all
sorry.
right.
I forgot about it. Besides Romeo
Don't
and
do
Jonathan, Lindsay has the least chance of winning. I do think if it's Lindsay, Jonathan, and Romeo, Lindsay will win probably 7-1.
Yes. And so, finale. If we want to start making bets, finale time. If Lindsay is sitting at the end against anyone, I'm willing to put down a pretty penny, which is like $10, that she'll get votes. And I'll even period. If
If it's Mike and okay,
Homer.
yeah,
he's
I don't
getting
see
votes no matter
Yeah.
what.
at least one. Yes.
I'd say I'd be willing to say at least 2, and like really put my money where my mouth is.
Put 100
We
on
might have
2.
I'll do like 20. I'll go 20.
Yeah.
This is a legally
Um,
binding contract because we're online.
The last question today I'll ask for you guys: if you had $100 to pick the winner right now, who would you pick? Drew, you're saying Lindsay. Gideon, you're saying Omer. Is that what's happening here?
Omer, yeah. I don't see how Omer doesn't win right now.
People get sussed into him. But yeah, I'd say Lindsay.
It's Mike. Mike's the winner, guys. Come on.
I like this. I like that we have
Yeah.
3 different people. I like that.
And it's not us like saying this because we have to disagree. Like I feel like
Yeah, Drew. I've genuinely been Team Omer, and Adam's been genuinely Team Mike for over a month now.
I've been Team Omer ever since Chanel left, but I've also been like, I feel like Lindsay's like getting a lot more airtime, and I'm loving what I'm getting.
I would two episodes ago, I would say you're crazy, but now I don't think it's too insane to say that. I think it's a little. I think it's a hot take. That's what I think it is, Drew.
Meanwhile, tune into Reality Pop's Reality Hot Take. Nice segue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, cool. This was a great recap, Drew. We love having you on so much. Hopefully, we can continue to have you on at least once every season for a recap. As well, it's like our hopefully it becomes an annual kickoff show. We're 2 for 2 so far, so hopefully when season 93 is coming out and Jeff's 90 and still running around out there, we're still doing kickoff shows. But until then, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, also subscribe to the Reality Pop channel, where you can find Drew, the link to which is on our channel. You become a member as well to sit in on some Survivor interviews. We have post-game interviews here lined up with 10 of the 18 cast members. Hopefully all 10 happen. Some of them get sick of Survivor very fast once the finale wraps up. But like this video and subscribe so you don't miss those, because we're going to do at least a couple, I'm sure. Still some season 41 interviews that we've been waiting till 41 finishes to catch up on, like Liana and Danny, or Deshaun, and Danny. But check out Drew's show, Hot Takes, with his co-host Emily. I'm sure you got some more guests coming up. Hopefully me and Giddy can stop by at some point soon on your show.
I feel like I'll get torn apart on Hot Takes. Y'all are just too intellectual for me.
Thank you.
I watch that show. I watch y'all's podcast, and I just feel smarter about Survivor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. As he puts on the glasses. I put the glasses after listening to your show.
Right. Awesome. This is a great recap. Everyone, thanks for watching live, or if you watch it later. Later for like probably 95% of the people watching. But until next time, stay thirsty.